Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus, and I'm just turning on the camera for fun because I don't really have anything specific to talk about. I'm super tired, and so I'm not going to work on my floriculture journal tonight because I'm just too tired to think. So I have a bunch of papers that I've printed, and I'm making them into envelopes for various journals that I'm working on. And right now I'm just doing the really easy part of cutting and making the basic envelopes. I'm not even decorating them. So I can't really promise that this is going to be interesting or exciting in any way at all. But we'll see. I'm just going to talk about stuff that I'm thinking about and doing and stuff, and we'll see if anything interesting comes out. I feel kind of funny turning this on, but I don't know, I just feel like I should. So anyway, so what I'm doing right now, I printed, okay, first of all of these papers that I'm cutting right now are from Pixelscrapper, pixelscrapper.com, and I will link that below in the description box, probably along with a few other things. And oops, I hate it when it does that. Cut all the way through, please. Oh man. Anyway, it's a member website, but if you're not a member, you can get 5 free downloads per day. Okay, and so I go there each day and I get 5 things, and I really hope that at some point I can afford to be a member. It's just not in our budget right now. So so I'm doing the free stuff. But if you could do the membership, I think it'd be awesome to have unlimited downloads and stuff. There are so many cool things there. But these are things that I've gathered over the last month or two, I guess. I don't know, however long I've been getting stuff from Pixelscrapper. And I went through today. I have a whole bunch of journals to work on. I just finished, well, I did, last month I did a, boy, I'm really having problems with this right now. I did a journal for my mom that was purple, and it had mostly writing space in it. It didn't have a whole lot of other stuff. It had some, but not a lot, because I knew that she would really want to just use it for writing. Let me see how wide this is. Okay. And so I did that, and of course I've been working on the floriculture journal, which you've all seen, and which I'm almost finished with, and I'm really excited. I've already actually started using it because I really wanted to use it, and because I needed something right now. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm going to use that for in a minute. Okay, and then I worked on a Revolutionary War journal for my dad for Father's Day, because he has been researching our family's genealogy for years, and two of the people he's been researching are Micah Weathern, who was my dad's like great grandfather times 4 or 6 or something like that, I don't know, and his brother Benjamin. They both fought in the Penobscot Bay battle, which was the U.S.'s worst naval disaster until Pearl Harbor. And then Micah also fought in another battle. I think it was Sandy Beach. And if I understand right, his account of that may be the only extant account of that battle, which is kind of cool. So anyway, Dad and Mom had gotten to tour, or at least go to, I think they got to tour, the house that Benjamin had built. And so I used that as a theme for the journal. And that was really fun because I learned a lot in that. I learned a lot about history. I learned about finding things on the web. I was, people pointed me in the direction of some amazing sources like the Library of Congress. Oh my goodness, that is such a great source. There are incredible treasures there, and it's always very clearly marked whether they're copyright free or not. And so there's things like Thomas Jefferson's rough draft of the Declaration of Independence. I mean, seriously, it's worth going to the Library of Congress website just to see that. That is so cool. And that kind of became the basis, the inspiration piece for doing the journal, because to me it was more exciting to see the rough draft than the actual real thing, which maybe not everybody feels that way, but that's how I feel. And so, I thought, I was hesitant kind of to do this journal for my dad because I didn't have any of his finished research. All I had was drafts, and I didn't even know if he had done anything since then. But when I saw Thomas Jefferson's rough draft and it was so exciting to me, I thought, I'm going to work from the rough draft of my dad's work, and then he can always, make corrections to it and do stuff with it, or just journal in among it, or write his shopping lists and his mileage in among it. He and my mom are traveling around the U.S. right now. My mom is prayer walking. She's prayer walked across the U.S. once before, and her intention was to prayer walk every state that she didn't go in before, but they're having to do a lot of driving. Just, they're getting up there. My mom is almost 78. She's 77. My dad is almost 80. There are limitations. And they're not as limited as I am, actually. They're doing a lot better. So anyway, so my dad has, lots of stuff that he could be writing down. And I think even just the not exciting stuff, like mileage and stuff, would be very interesting sometime in the future. And, and he has an eye to that kind of thing because of all the work that he's done researching ancestors and wishing, that they had written down certain things and everything. Well, he's got that opportunity to leave that for his descendants and for whoever might be researching him someday. And anyway, so I finished that. Those two journals, my mom's and my dad's, are ready to ship. And the next, I want to finish up the floriculture journal because that's a design team project. So I just want to get that done and get the videos all finished posting and everything. Most of them are up already. I think I've got videos through the 22nd so far of June. And I think I probably will be making like 2 or 3 more. So it's almost done. And then I have a journal that I'm working on for a friend that's really cool. I'm really excited about it. And after that, I have 4 journals that I'm working on for my cousin's children for graduation gifts. Some of them graduated a few years ago, and I'm just now getting around to it. So yes, I'm late. But we will call it extended graduation celebration, right? When I'm late for somebody's birthday, I say happy extended birthday, because you get to celebrate your birthday extra instead of all on one day, right? That's my thinking. Okay, so I'm going to work on those next after my friend's journal. And then I have 3 Tennessee journals that I've started, and one that I'm really almost finished with. And I just need to finish them up. I had started them for our store, but then we decided to close our store because we just have way too much on our plates. And we decided that was the thing that had to go. So I've got these Tennessee journals to do still, and I'm excited about them. I love them. So I still want to do them. And then I have 1 or 2 more cat journals to do. Another music journal, a journal about clocks that has clocks as the theme. I've got an Asian designed theme journal that's green and white. I think I have more than that, but I can't remember. Anyway, and I really, really want to do some Christmas journals. Isn't this cool? Oh, what I started to say is that these papers that I'm doing right now are all from Pixelscrapper. And so I spent, I don't know, half an hour today just printing some of these. You know, I went through and I printed like all the things that I could find that I had already downloaded that were red. And I printed on the backs of those mostly blue themed things. And then I printed a bunch of teal. I think I did brown stuff on the back of those. Because I thought, you know, I'll do the basic envelopes for all of the journals that I'm working on, and those are the basic color schemes. And I think I had green and brown too. So I'm doing the basic envelopes, and so like I did, here's what I did so far. Let's turn them over so you can see the insides. So there's this one here, and I'm doing them in like different dimensions and stuff. So there's this one here, and it's got this for the inside. I'm not gluing them shut yet because I might change my mind, you know, and want to do, like, instead of having this on the outside, I might want to change it to have this writing on the outside. Okay? So I'm just leaving my options open right now until I get to where I'm going to put these in the journals. So they're all different. They all started out with the same size of paper, but I did them all in different dimensions as far as like how they're folded. And I'll show you how I do that in a bit. It's really easy using this envelope punch thing that I got that is like so cool. I wish, if you're just starting junk journaling, this is one of the first things that I would get. Seriously, it is so cool. And not just because it helps you make envelopes, but because you can also use it for rounding corners, like on cards and stuff. And then also I use this notch thing on it for making the notches in the fronts of pockets. So I think it's really cool. I think it's a really, really helpful piece of equipment to have. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one and then I'll make some envelopes so you can see. Anyway, so I thought I would make the basic envelopes for all of those journals and just have them available to myself so that I don't have to stop and make 3 envelopes, you know, or something, or make one and then later on make another one or something like that. I would just have them already done, or, you know, the basic part done. They still have to be glued, they still have to be decorated, you know, all that stuff. Okay, and then these papers I'll save and I can use for lots of different things in those journals. Okay. So let me get rid of these papers though. I won't keep those little scraps. Okay, so here's the punch thing. I think this is so cool. I got this about a week ago or so. And because I had been looking at, you know, corner punches. Okay, this is how I think, you guys, because I'm so cheap. Okay, I had been looking at corner punches for doing this rounded corner here. And they were $9.99. And I had been looking at punches to make a thumb hole like this on pockets. And they were $9.99, and it was like, wow, this is so expensive. Well, this whole thing is $9.99, and it does both those things, and it makes envelopes, and you could use it for some other scoring too. Okay, so it has this little thing in it here for scoring, which you can also use for, you know, like a folding bone like this. Okay. And guess what? You could also use it to butter your toast. No, I'm kidding. You could, but I'm not going to use it that way. And I like that it comes with this little handy thing to keep it in so you don't lose it, because that's one of my problems. Okay, so it has this chart that you follow, which I've kind of gotten the hang of what I can do with this size. Basically, okay, so this is 8 1/4. So half of that is 4 1/8. If I do 4 1/8, then I will end up with, if I do that as my basic punch, then I will end up with this square envelope, okay, which is about 5 inches by 5 inches, which is a little big for my journals, because most of my journals are 8 inches tall by about 5.5 inches wide. So there's just a lot of possibility of that big of an envelope, that wide of an envelope, getting into the binding, and so I would just rather have them be a little bit narrower. So by changing where you punch it, you change from a square envelope to something that's more or less square. I mean, like this is a lot less square. This is more up and down, and so this can fit in this way, where, you know, other envelopes might fit in sideways or whatever. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for 3.5. And, you know, really the way that I'm doing it right now, where I'm not trying to get a specific measurement, because what this chart is about is you have your card size. Like, what size card do you want to put in the envelope? Well, I don't really care. I'll make the card to fit the envelope. And if you want to make this size card, then you need this paper size, and I think it's always square. And then here's the line score. And the line score, you only have to pay attention to the very first time that you punch it. So let's say that I'm going to use 3 as my line score. Okay, so I'm going to put this up to the 3 right here. Can you see that? I hope. It's a little dark. I'm sorry. Today has been kind of overcast. Okay, and then you punch this, and that gives you that little dip thing. Okay, then you take your scoring knife, and right from here is where that little thing is for scoring in, right there. Can you see that? I'll hold it up so you can see. Right here, this part. So you can feel it under there, and you're just taking your little knife and scoring along in there, and that gives you your fold. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, but there's a fold right there. Okay, so then you don't have to pay attention to that 3 or whatever. I already forgot the number because I don't need to remember it. You don't have to pay attention to that anymore. You're going to line your score mark up with this little thing that sticks out right here. Okay, you're going to punch and you're going to score. All right, then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to match that little score mark up with this thing that sticks out. Don't you like my technical terms? I don't know if there is a technical term for it. What would it be? And then you score it. And then you match the score line up with that thingy. And punch it and score it. Okay? Then you've got your envelope shape. And you've got all these little tiny triangles, which are too small for Franken paper, in my opinion, so they go in the trash. I do actually draw the line and throw some things away. Okay, so then you just have to decide which side is going to be your outside. And I really like this with the feed boxes. I may change my mind. Like I said, I'm not gluing it, so I can change my mind later and decide that I want this to be on the outside. But just to give you guys an idea of what it looks like, I will probably use it upright, so I'm going to punch this one here. But even if I decide to use a different corner, I can always punch that corner. It doesn't matter. Okay, see that? Isn't that cool? So, for example, of another way to use this, let me get my floriculture journal here. Okay, so I've got all these cards that I made for my floriculture journal before. Oh, I think I cut all the corners on them. Yeah, I cut the corners. Okay, so I had cut the corners on here. But now I can go and, like on my dad's Revolutionary War journal, I just went and I stuck each of those corners in there, went bam, 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 and I had nice curved corners, okay? I didn't have this when I did these cards, so I've got, I cut off like I cut off a triangle from it, okay? So, but then also, the other thing is that for pockets, where's the pocket? Okay, here's a pocket right here. Okay, so I can use that little wedge cutter thingy. I can't use it now that it's already glued in, but if I had done it before I glued it in, I could use that little wedge cutter thing to make a thumb hole right there, which just makes it easier, and it makes the pocket more noticeable, and it just looks nicer. I don't know, it looks prettier with it like that. Let me see if I can show you where I cut one out by hand. It doesn't look real great because I can't cut them out by hand very well, which is why I was lusting after having one. Actually, I thought I had done it there, but I hadn't. Okay, so I probably don't have one that I've done. But it just looks so much better with that little hole there. So, so anyway, so I really, really like this. So I can have it like this, and then when I go to use this envelope in a journal, I'll probably cut this right here, this page, or fold it under. It'll look nicer, but I'm just going to leave it for now because I may decide to make it an envelope that goes this direction. Okay, in which case I would go like this. Probably trim this in a little bit so it's not so long, and cut this across here. So I'm just leaving that until I know for sure. The other option that I have is that I could take it and turn it the other direction. And I like to have both sides printed because I want the inside, the part that you see of the inside, to look nice and to coordinate with it. Okay, so I could do my envelope this way. So I'm just leaving my options open for now, and I'm just making the basic envelopes, and then I'll sort them between the journals that I'm working on, and I can just, you know, decorate them, decide which direction I want facing out, which direction I want in, you know, where do I want to put it, you know, all those kinds of things. Do I want it horizontal? Do I want it vertical? Or what? And then after that, decorate it and put it in. So, and you know, they could be floating envelopes, or they could be ones that I actually glue or sew in. Oh, that's another thing, is that by leaving them unglued yet, what I've done in a couple of journals is I've sewn these in. So I can sew it, if I sew it like right along here, along the edge of the page, then when I glue this shut, I don't glue the rest of it down to the page, and it can flip out like this from the page. Okay, or I can sew it like this onto the page, and then it's just sewn on to the page in the journal, which is also really cool. Okay, your other option is always to glue it in, which there's nothing wrong with that either, or to even sew it after you've closed it, sew it along the edges and stuff, but I don't really like sewing it on the edges after it's already closed. Okay, so I'm lining this up. Did I already cut this? I don't remember. Yep, I did. Okay, and there's my thing. So I'm just, you know, making these to go along with all of those, and just thought I would show you what I'm doing and tell you about why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, because I really partly it's just I really like using this thing and I like making envelopes, so I just wanted to do it, and I just needed something fairly mindless to do that wasn't gonna take a lot of brain power, so that I could still be productive. And also, working on my journals just really relaxes me. When I'm really uptight, or I don't know, upset or just stressed or anything, I work on stuff like this and I just feel so serene afterwards. It's really weird. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like what meditation does for some people, I think. And so, like, I'll tell my husband, I just need to spend half an hour alone time with my sewing machine. And he thinks that's really funny, but it's true. I'm having an affair with my sewing machine. And I sleep better. So, like, every evening, the last thing that I do before going and sitting out in the kitchen and talking with my husband over a cup of hot chocolate, because hot chocolate helps me to sleep too. I have a lot of trouble sleeping, so I have to do a lot of things to try to get some good sleep. And so one of the things I do last thing before I go to bed is I drink some hot chocolate, because for some weird reason I sleep really well when I have hot chocolate, and if I don't have hot chocolate, I'm restless all night long. And I haven't gained weight from it, thank goodness, and so far I'm not diabetic from it. What was I saying? So yeah, so before, like, especially when my husband's at work, I will work on this for like the last half hour to an hour before he gets home, and I feel just like 10 years have melted off my face. I just feel really serene and calm and relaxed and ready to sleep, and it's just really wonderful. So, yeah. So I'm going to show you really quickly some of the other papers that I printed out. So you're seeing red and blue first because those go with a couple of the journals that I'm doing. The one that I'm doing for my friend has a lot of red and blue hippie type stuff in it. And then one of the ones that I'm doing for one of my cousin's kids has a lot of red and blue in it also. But, so these are all from Pixelscrapper. These are all downloaded stuff that you can use like to make cards or envelopes or the the background sheets. In my dad's Revolutionary War journal, I used mostly stuff from Pixelscrapper. I really like that website. It's so cool. And I can't wait to be able to have a membership so I could just download as much as I want. Because right now I just can download 5 things a day. I love the tie-dye. Did you notice? Okay, and then this is also for my friends. Because I don't really know if she likes sunflowers. I have a friend who loves sunflowers. But I don't know if this friend really likes sunflowers or not, but it just strikes me as being a lot like her. So these are just front and back what I've got. Just a bunch of writing that's cool. It looks like it's old Spencerian type writing. And the other thing is that I've taken some of these, like I think this is the original color of this, but you'll see it in red and blue and maybe brown, because I take them onto Google Docs. Like this I had in green, I think, and red earlier. I think the original one is green. So I take them onto Google Docs and I just change the colors. So you can get all kinds of use from it. Isn't this cool with all these birds on it? I love it. I really, really love it. I want to find like an old Audubon bird book or something to do a whole bird themed journal. Because look at this. This is also, and that, the one that I made the envelope from that has the instructions. I think it's this one. Yeah, the instructions for making. This is in brown and I changed it to red. I think I also changed it to blue. And it's, it'll be a great background page like in a bird book with this. And then this, I love this. I used this as little tiny pieces all throughout my dad's journal in some of the collages. Okay, I love this. Watermelon. And this has all kinds of different things about watermelon on it. This is probably one of my favorite pages from Pixelscrapper. It's very cool. I mean, there's just a real variety of things. There's lots of ephemera on there too, but right now I'm focusing on pages because I can make that into ephemera. But some of the ephemera that they have made up is really cool. So this is Canada, and I have one of the US also from Pixelscrapper. This is just like a piece of cardboard. Doesn't that look cool? Corrugated cardboard. So these are, okay, I think this is the original color of that page from Pixelscrapper. Isn't that so cool? I love it. It just really makes me want to do a bird book. But the birds I think are going to be for one of my Tennessee journals. Although I might use some birds for my cat journal. Wouldn't that be funny? Oh, here's the US part of the North American map. I kind of download each day when I do my 5 free downloads. I do them in themes. Like one day I did plaids, and for the last week I've been doing things that have teal in them, and I did brown for a while. So I just have, I really need to like sort those into files so they'll be easier to find. Now I don't know how this is going to work for an envelope, but I thought I would try it. I think I'm going to end up, because the envelope ends up going diagonally, I think I'm probably going to end up using this paper for something else instead of an envelope. And then this I thought is kind of cool because it's just like columns with lines. It'd be nice for a page for listing things in a journal. And then this one's cool too. There's this kind of canvasy background and then a doily. I don't know if you can see that because there's this shadow that might be from my camera actually. It's like a newspaper from Russia or someplace. I'm not really sure. I don't know those languages very well. It's not Russian writing. It looks like maybe it's Polish or something. I don't know. anyway, it's a doily cut out of a newspaper. So that's kind of cool. And then this, I can't remember what the original color was. I think the original color was actually this green. And then I did it in a whole bunch of different colors too. Just, you know, it's like when I was going through and saying, okay, let's find all the red stuff to go on the back of the blue stuff. There were some things that I changed from the color that they were to red. Okay, so this was just a small piece of ephemera, and then I had it in Google Docs and I made it big. You know, and again, all this is from Pixelscrapper. And here's another. I think this is like a punch card or something for a ticket. And that, I think that's pretty. So anyway, so those are the ones that I got from Pixelscrapper. I've downloaded more than this, but these are just the ones that I'm using for the envelopes right now. So that's it. I don't think that I have anything else really interesting to talk about. So if I kept going, I think that it would just be boring. So I'm going to stop and just work on these all by myself. I love you all. Bye-bye.